Hi, sorry I'm a few minutes late. Technical difficulties. I had to restart my whole thing. So thank you guys for being patient. If you're watching on the replay, make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, all of the things, whatever it is for you on whatever platform you're watching. And we're going to do another collective reading today, as usual. We'll switch it up soon. Okay. I've got to watch the comments on my computer monitor because they're not showing up on my phone. So let's see. Can you guys hear me, see me, all of the things? There you are, Holly. Hello. How's everyone doing? We'll give just a couple minutes for folks to file in as usual. And then we'll get into it. There were fewer cards that came out today, so I'm just going with it. I couldn't even force them to come out. The more I shuffled, they just, nope. So we get what we get. I guess I've been talking fairly long for the last several. Hi, Anna. Awesome, Holly. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. So yeah, I've been long-winded with the readings, talking about like one card for 10-15 minutes. So maybe this is my nudge to keep it a little shorter. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's just not enough time in the day for what I would come up with. So we'll just see how it goes. I did get intrigued, though. I will say that, and I'll let you know why once we get to it. Pretty much in the beginning of the reading. So yeah, we'll just see how this goes. Okay, looks like we've got a couple more in. We can start. Hi, Helena. All right. So it's been a couple weeks. Last time I was with you guys, I forgot that the following Sunday was supposed to be the Easter holiday. So yeah, ADHD brain, it happens, but I'm glad to be back with you guys this week. I've missed you. It's been a long time. So let's go ahead and dive in, I guess. Okay, bottom of the deck, we're using etheric evolution today. We have mental reprogramming, 5D thoughts, install. I mean, that works. Install manifestation, instant manifestation, and limitless beliefs is what the card really says, but psychic slip, install your manifestation. Okay, so for me, we've talked a lot about programming for the last few years. And we know that normally when we talk about programming, we're talking about negative programming, fear programming, the programming that keeps us in a lower state. But that has to mean that we're programmable, right? So if any of you guys know hacks like hypnosis being one major tool, there are many, many, many tools to reprogram, retrain your mind, your ego, your expectations, all of it. So we as human beings are programmable. That's not always a bad thing. Work with it because it just is. It just exists. Just like energy, it's not good or bad. It just is, right? So we're reframing here. And this next reframe is going to hit you a little bit sideways, I think, but it'll be okay. So as human beings, we are programmable. Program your manifestations. So meditation, one of the most well-used tools for reprogramming, right? We meditate, we get to that balanced state, that even keel, and then we anchor in these ideas from the ether, right? We grab from the quantum and we anchor that oftentimes through meditation. Hypnosis is a deep form of meditation. It gets to the most unconscious and subconscious levels of our psyche. So in effect, we are reprogramming or rewriting the programs that have been running that don't serve us, right? So that being said, Stranded, right behind that. Yes, you can. Thank you for asking. Needed a lemon muffin. um, Feeling alone, stuck, or abandoned. Okay. This can definitely be part of your mental programming. Okay. So with childhood wounds, with, early adulthood wounds, those things embed themselves deep in our psyche oftentimes. And then we manifest our lives around those, right? Those can be really good, positive things for us, whether it was trauma based or not. Those can be very positive aspects for us because those are kind of tools that we can use, though a lot of times people don't really regard them as such, right? People see them as bad or negative, but these are just parts of us that we need to integrate. We have these tools, we've been provided these tools. They're neither good nor bad, depending on your own judgment of them. And, the context of the situation very much matters here. And I'm not going to override that or say everything is good or anyway. Do with that what you will. Don't come for me. Um, but a lot of the times they impact us in ways that we don't always consciously make aware and use towards manifesting for our highest benefit, right? Everything is for our highest good, no matter what we go through, but ultimate highest benefit is what we're most focused on, but we don't really call it that, right? So we can have experienced something so traumatic in our lifetimes and use that as fuel to achieve our goals, to achieve our desires, to create the life that we want, just as much as we can choose to, do the opposite of that. And this is where people tend to develop addictions or coping mechanisms, right? In order to try to bury, forget, leave that behind, not face it anymore. And this is where we find those parts through shadow work. Okay. And we're able to sit with them, validate them, really drain every drop of knowledge and wisdom that we can from those, integrate them without judgment, and then continue to build a better life for ourselves. Correct? Um, so if you are at a point where you're feeling stuck or abandoned or alone, like your manifestations are going nowhere, like life is hitting you left and right, and it's like you're spitting out blood on the mat, right? Being kicked while you're down. I get it. I've been there many times, many, many, many times. And I always had to find my way out of that. And it's so it's so funny, not really, how the universe will, with healers or with people that are meant to heal through these things, trailblazers, way showers. We're oftentimes not given a crutch or, someone to hold our hand through all of our difficult work, through all of the triggers and the traumas. Oftentimes we're left to our own devices. And that's because you're a way shower, you're a healer. You must know the depths of the set of circumstances you've been given, which is a melody of many frequencies, right? Even though it may not sound or feel like a melody because it's excruciating, it's traumatic, it's awful. I get it. Don't come for me on that one either. It's still a melody because there are different notes, right? Different energies, different ways that these energies have intertwined and impacted you on a personal level. So yes, it is a symphony. Maybe it's the, the dark tune that plays whenever, there's a serial murderer coming around the corner. Definitely healing myself, learn how to heal others, and it's starting to work on others. That's awesome, Patrine. Hi, Katie. Hello, Patrine, too. Nice to see you guys. So even though it's not really the tune that we want to play or that we want to hear, it's a tune nonetheless, because frequencies, they are different colors, they are different hues, they are different notes, different melodies, right? And they just exist, and they combine, oftentimes in a way that just like manifestation, it's the path of least resistance. And for some of us that haven't faced certain things, those can manifest in a way that is unbearable, right? Hi, Lori. A client this weekend, her name was Symphony. I love that, Patrine. What a beautiful synchronicity for you. Never get notified of my lives. Lynn just got a YouTube notification. Oh, thank you, Lynn and Lori. Up to my armpits and decluttering my apartment of old paperwork and stuff I've been holding on to and listening in the background. Love it. Thank you for joining us. Even, in the background, continue decluttering your life. I love it. Perfect. Spring cleaning. This is New Year energy, right? Because we just passed through the true New Year, not the one that is in the dead of winter. So that's perfectly on theme, on point in the energy for what's taking place collectively right now. So I love that, Lori. Continue, good ma'am, and hopefully some of this will be helpful for you, love. Okay. So these symphonies, these different notes, the way that they manifest, the way that the song plays out for you is directly linked to your own programming, the way that by default life has happened to you, or these traumatic events that have shaped you. And perhaps consciously you didn't use them to shape you in the way that you hope or had hoped that your life would go, right? No fault of your own. It's default programming. Okay. It's time to change that. And it's all within your power to change. Now, next reframe is coming up. Gratitude. Okay. Now this is the reframe. Hear me out. Don't shoot me down immediately. But when this card came out of the deck, before I even saw that bottom of the deck card about mental reprogramming, I heard gratitude is also part of the programming. And more than one would really see on the surface, right? Gratitude is amazing. It is a very high frequency, right? When it is in its purest form. But when we have all of this baggage and all of these unchecked programming errors and viruses within the programming, right? If we try to leap to gratitude, that's not its pure form. That's its tainted form. I'm programmed because the spiritual community told me to have gratitude for everything. Even if I don't feel it, I'll say, oh, gratitude, hashtag gratitude, or I'm so grateful that even though nothing is going right for me in my life, at least I have a meal every day. At least I have a roof over my head, or at least for now, I have those things, but I don't know what's coming next. I don't know what's tomorrow. I don't know, if I'm going to have any of these people in my life that are really meaningful connections, but Greg, my doorman, is kind of nice to me. He says hi, even though, that's part of his job. That's some semblance of connection. So I'll take it. So I'll be grateful for whatever I can get. You're being grateful for breadcrumbs. You're being grateful for having received much less than you deserve. On an energetic level, my darling, that's not pure gratitude. That is very tainted. And that sets the stage, that sets the expectation for the energy. So if you're wondering why you're not having this energy returned in a big, meaningful way, perhaps it's because there's a bug in the programming. Because false gratitude isn't gratitude. It's not gratitude in its purest form. It's, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I have this breadcrumb, because if I had this breadcrumb, I'd have nothing. That sounds like lack to me. Thank you, Matt. Hi, Susan. So like I said, hear me out on that, because yes, the spiritual community has touted gratitude. It's the highest, frequency, which it's not. We know authenticity is, but they try to frame it as such, right? Gratitude, be grateful for every single breadcrumb that you receive, because it could be much worse. Well, you know what? It could be a whole fuck of a lot better too, right? And that's being honest. That's being authentic. We don't need to. My grandmother, okay, my grandmother raised me to be grateful for, you know, not getting hit that day, or not being secluded to my bedroom that whole day, maybe just for, half of it. Or I was held prisoner my whole life in my room. Like, I am an introvert because I was literally held prisoner, held captive in my bedroom most of my childhood. So, being grateful for your prison walls only begets more prison walls to be grateful for. Doesn't sound like masterful manifestation to me. Sounds like you're programmed to be grateful for your prison walls, so that idea continues to be reinforced. It's time for you to realize your true value and worth and be upset, right? Validate that dissonance with the way life is going and being grateful for, oh, the sun is shining. Yeah, it does that every day. Have you ever been through a deep depression? I know all of you guys have experienced dark night of the soul at some point. Hey, Steph. um yes, I love that, Patrine. When something happens that makes you really happy, then you go, yes, I love this, more of this. Yes, that is reinforcing that I want more. It's programming that tells us you should stay humble. You should never desire more than, what your life circumstances have allotted you thus far. Um, it's bullshit. That's what it is. And I've talked about this for the last few years, right? I've talked about authenticity and really validating and feeling those emotions. When your health is in the toilet, you don't say, oh, I'm so grateful that I woke up today in excruciating pain, but I'm awake. I'm here. No, fuck that. It fucking hurts. This is excruciating pain, and I'm not going to feel grateful for 1 second. I know people that are authentic in that way, but I also know people who are inauthentic by, oh, if I just gratitude this to death, my health will improve. My finances will improve. My relationship opportunities will improve. The people around me that seem to not appreciate me will start appreciating me if I'm just grateful that they're here. No, get those motherfuckers out of your life. Being grateful for inauthenticity and for people who breadcrumb you, or your finances that breadcrumb you, or whatever it is that you're focused on right now. If you're grateful for the breadcrumbs, you're only growing that frequency, the breadcrumbs to be grateful for. Is that any way to live? Is that any fucking way that you want to live? Ask yourself, get real with yourself. Finding gratitude in everything, yes. Pure gratitude, authentic gratitude, yes, that will definitely open you up to receiving more abundance of whatever it is. But being grateful for the breadcrumbs because you've been programmed that, oh, if I can just express gratitude, it'll bring me more. Yeah, more of the same. So get pissed off about where you're at if you don't like where you're at. Stop bypassing. We talk about spiritual bypassing all the time. This is one of those forms in a more, real life lived expression of it. But the spiritual community, and you've heard me say this multiple times before, maybe not as relatable as this, the spiritual community is just another module, another program, which they inject all the religious programming and all of the it's a cycle. Okay, it's a cycle they've been playing out on earth for millennia now. Okay, and they brainwash us, they make us forget, capitalism, you need this and that to be happy. And once you get that, and then the happy little dopamine feeling wears off, you're back at where you were. So you need to buy, have, do. But are you ever really happy? Are you ever really fulfilled? Yeah, you're grateful for it in the moment, but when the newness wears off. So I know some of you guys have got to be country music fans. Okay, this is an old one. But I was raised on country music too. Okay, my grandparents, country gospel singers, they play mainstream country songs too. My whole life they practiced the same songs for years and years, day in and day out. But they also listened to a lot of country music, and that Clay Walker song, just that clip of it played through my mind. I don't even remember what the name of the song was anymore because I've tried so hard to forget. When the new wears off and the old shines through, and then I lost it. So I don't know. Some of you know that. I know you do. It's okay to admit it. But that's the little reel that played in my head whenever I said that. So when the new wears off and the old shines through, something about what are you gonna do? It ain't really love and it ain't really lust. You ain't anybody's gonna trust, I think. Hopefully that channel is correct or similar. Um, but really, what are you going to do when that gratitude for the breadcrumb wears off and you're looking for the next breadcrumb? You're in lack, you're searching for it. Is this person going to reciprocate my feelings? Is this person going to reciprocate my friendship? Is an opportunity for money going to manifest for me? Is, this project going to take off like I want, and I'm going to get the accolades from, the other people in the company? Am I going to, finally receive the attention that I'm due? No, because you're grateful for them just, okay, cool, good job, thanks for your millionth contribution to the company, but CEO's going to take credit for it. But good job. You'll get a $25 bonus on your Christmas bonus, okay? Good job. And then you're grateful for the breadcrumb. Okay, well, maybe the next time, if I just do it bigger and better, if I really prove myself the next time, maybe I'll receive the accolades. Maybe they will appreciate my effort and my accomplishments. And then it's the same pattern on repeat. Get pissed off. Get upset. Whatever emotion manifests for you that you're bypassing, feel that shit. Get to the bottom of it. It's probably going to feel a lot like anger for some of you, sadness, feeling unseen, unheard, like you don't matter. Get to the bottom of it. And then work up that emotional scale. Google the emotional scale. There's, it has all the emotions from, frequency, and reach for the higher one. Sadness or complacence or any of those things, right, are lower on the scale than anger. You've heard me talk about this many times. That's awesome, Matt. Oh, thank you, Patrine. I've been swimming in some deep ponds lately, here and here. I'm grateful for all I receive, but I'm not grateful for the breadcrumbs when it should be the whole sandwich. Yes, get that whole sandwich, Steph. I call it a sandwich to my kids. We call them sandwiches, but yeah. It's okay to be grateful for the breadcrumbs. It's okay to be grateful for those things, because without them, you'd probably be a lot lower on that scale. But get pissed off because that's not enough. Like, oh yeah, cool. Thanks for the dollar. I needed 50, but you know, and you owed me 9,500, but thanks for that dollar, universe. Love it. More, please. Okay. 2 months later, one more dollar. 5 months later, one more dollar. That's not the way that we're meant to live. I handed my notice in. I was tired of the struggle 4 years ago. I'm grateful for the tax rebate. Love it. Love it, Katie. So I'm not saying not to be grateful for the breadcrumbs or for the tiny little glimmers that you see from time to time. Okay. What I'm saying is you need to amplify. You need to get that fucking mega speaker out, megaphone, whatever they're called, and say, hey, universe, this ain't enough. Universe, it's not enough. When did I start settling for less than I fucking deserve? When did I start accepting that I was going to receive less than I deserved and become okay with that, or complacent, not doing a goddamn thing about it? At which point for me was that? For me, I have been doing some inner child work for the last couple of weeks. It's led to other like rabbit holes and stuff for me. But when I asked myself, when did I start just expecting to receive nothing, or breadcrumbs or crickets or what have you? At what point was that? And I was flashed back to 7 years old, probably, same age as my twins are now. And I never received attention from my mother. Never positive attention anyway. It was always I was, had the wrong look on my face, or I said something out of turn, or just whenever she didn't want me to speak, not even to be seen or heard. Go to your room. And if it wasn't just an order, it was physical violence. For something as simple as, I'm autistic, nobody knows, nobody cares. I didn't hear that you called my name, so I didn't look immediately. It took, 2 or 3 times for you to call my name for me to realize someone was calling my name, because I was lost in the sauce. Grounded for a month. Physically abused. So my safety was not being seen, not being heard, disguising myself, literally walking on my tiptoes so I didn't make the floor creak when I had to use the bathroom or go get a drink of water. So when I decided to take less than I deserved, it was long before 7 years old, but I was brought into the room when I was 7 on my own. My mother had, been gone for hours, who knows where. Childhood, definitely, yeah. And I was crying while listening to Michael Jackson. You are not alone. A 7-year-old bawling, holding on to that one song as hope. And then I imagined one of my kids there, because I lived through it. That doesn't touch me. I'm fine. That's part of my story. I accepted it a long time ago. But imagining one of my kids there? No. Because I make the conscious effort to pause the music or the TV or set my phone down if one of my kids walks in the room and wants my attention for something, for a question, for love, for anything. they will never receive that program, that they're not worthy of what they need when they need it. And in many other ways too. Thank you guys. I love you too. It's not fun to go back there. It's not pleasant to stand in that room and see 7-year-old me experiencing something so out of the realm of what age something like that should take place. Not easy. But nobody's gonna fucking do the work for me. Nobody's gonna go back there and rescue me because nobody ever did. My grandparents on both sides knew what was happening. My aunts and uncles knew what was happening, saw the way that I was treated, saw the things that my mother was doing, leaving for days at a time, leaving 4 or 5-year-old children at home for days at a time with no adult supervision, no one there in case of an emergency. Who rescued me then? Thank you, Katie. Yeah, because any loving mother would, right? Stop what they're doing and attend to their children. But some of us didn't have, I'm not going to call that a luxury. That's the basics, right? In my opinion, giving my children attention, care, meeting their needs and their desires is just my job. That's what I'm for. I'm their guide until they can, develop the conscious awareness of how to navigate life on their own without me. But not all of us had that. You see, now I'm seeing why I had fewer cards come out today. Because this is really deep. It ended up being really deep. So whenever it started for you, I don't care if you were as young as I was probably 3 or 4 years old when I started. I was actually left on my own at birth. I told you guys that story too. Within a week or two of my birth, forgotten, as my parents left town without me. So, that's not a new experience for me. It started really young for me, but for some of you, it could have started in your teens, early teens, late teens, in your 20s, maybe not even until your 60s. I don't know your life, okay? But it doesn't matter when it started, you're still at the same place, right? Whether it started from a week or two old like me, or consistently through your childhood, right? Or thank you, Matt, thank you. Or later on in life, it doesn't fucking matter. Trauma is trauma. And mine is no, worse or better than yours. And I've said that a lot. Hits differently when you picture the same things happening to your kids at the same age. Exactly, Patrine. Like, you see how innocent they are compared to seeing yourself as strong, heartbreaking, generational trauma healer. Yes, thank you. And it hasn't been easy to be a generational trauma healer, and it's not going to be easy for those of you who are meant to break generational trauma in your own bloodlines. It's not going to be easy. This program has been running for millennia now, right? That's the way controllers have wanted it to go. So you pass down trauma from generation to generation, and then, it manifests in different ways, gets worse, it causes a shitstorm. So if you're a generational trauma breaker, if you're a pattern breaker for your bloodline, it's not going to be easy, okay? You're going to have to reprogram yourself. You're going to have to really observe and say, hey, that's not really aligned to what I think is appropriate for myself or anyone else. Hi, Suzanne. So you choose a different pattern. You choose to lay different foundations. That's not easy. I was completely disowned by my family, my biological family. I speak to one of them, my aunt, my mother's sister. And the only reason probably is because my aunt hates my mother too, you know. We don't share in that. Like that's not what we don't get together and gossip or anything. I mean, I hear it and then I try to transmute that with her. Like, oh, don't let her, take away your power by dictating your mood by what she says. Don't go around her. Those kinds of things. Regardless, you're meant to reprogram yourself. Don't just be grateful for the breadcrumbs. Don't just be grateful for any tiny little thing you can get if you are seeing a consistent pattern of, I only ever get breadcrumbs. I only ever get, the bare minimum. Maybe you only ever get less than the bare minimum. Stop being so grateful for the breadcrumbs because it's inauthentic. Because you're not grateful if you're just getting breadcrumbs. You're grateful when you are full, when you are abundantly receiving what it is that you deserve. So stop spiritually bypassing by saying, oh, this XYZ spiritual guru or reader or whoever said I should be grateful and just be grateful for everything that I get. And the more I'm grateful for, the more I'm going to manifest. Yeah, that's true. You be grateful for that breadcrumb and see how many breadcrumbs manifest and how short or long of a period of time. And then tell me you're grateful for it because you're receiving breadcrumbs compared to the feast that you actually fucking deserve. Get pissed off about it. Be authentic. Validate your emotions. Don't just, oh, I can't be upset that I'm not receiving the full feast because at least I'm getting some breadcrumbs that makes you a rat. And I'm being blunt about all of this because I want to snap you awake. Yes, gratitude is a high frequency, but in its authenticity. If you are not grateful because you're seeing scarcity in your life in whatever aspect it is for you, and then you're acting grateful for it, or you're trying to fake it till you make it to grateful, you're not going to receive that full feast, are you? You're going to continue to receive breadcrumbs. That's not why you're here. You're not fucking here to thrive on breadcrumbs. You're here to create a life in which you are thriving. Thriving is not receiving crumbs when you're starving to death. Thriving is having an abundance to be able to give to others who you see may not be doing so well. Maybe they're starving to death, but you have an overabundance. Now you can share that. I would say that is a far greater purpose than, oh yes, I'm starving to death, but this crumb might sustain me for another hour. This crumb might sustain me for, another day. You're not thriving. And if you're not thriving, you're not grateful that you're not thriving, unless you want to be like a little dumpster rat, Oscar the Grouch. That's fine. That's your prerogative. No judgment. I'm just putting it in frame for you. You could be Oscar the Grouch, or you can fucking thrive and have it all and have an effortless existence. But we're so used to being stranded, being stuck, feeling like we don't have all the people or all the things or all of the, the money to sustain our lifestyle, which lifestyle can be something grand. Yeah, that's fine. Or it can be the bare minimum or less. There are people whose lifestyle it is to actually sleep on the streets with concrete for a pillow, eating breadcrumbs out of trash cans. Gauge your worth, your true value, not what you've been told it is. Life gives you breadcrumbs, make bread pudding. Unless you don't like that, then you can give them to like some birds or whatever stuff. Thank you. Thank you for lightening that load. Anger is 150, which is higher than grief, which is 75. So getting angry is a higher vibration, which leads you. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Like I've said for so long, Patrine, people see anger as something negative, as something low vibrational, but no, there are many lower frequency emotions than anger. Anger is powerful. Anger is transformative. It's that fire, it's that passion. It's you actually fucking feel something when you've been numb and dead for so long. So anger is a very valuable tool. I've used it many times in my life. A lot of times I used it in ways that were destructive. I'm not going to lie about that. But in others, I used it in ways that were constructive. Okay? If you get pissed off at where you're at and you're pissed off enough about where you're at, that anger will motivate you to do something drastic, which immediately manifests a new timeline. You step through that portal and then you go with that until the next time, you work with a powerful emotion, maybe not anger, maybe something different, and you construct your reality from there. Being grateful for breadcrumbs might be grief when it's not in its authenticity. Is that right? Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And bypassing that emotion and labeling it as something else doesn't make that frequency raise. It doesn't, because just like that card in this deck that did not come out yet, maybe it won't, maybe it will. The universe keeps all the original receipts. You cannot lie about your vibrational frequency. Your external universe responds to your true frequency. And if you're masking that frequency, it's not going to emit a different frequency. The universe is going to be like, oh, grief has a mask on trying to parade as gratitude right now. Well, you still get that frequency that matches grief. So here's more to be, in grief about. So get pissed off. It's not low frequency. Even if it's not anger, I don't care what emotion it is. Validate it. Live in it. Get to know it. Go back to that scene that was one of the lowest that you have experienced in your life. Feel how you felt then. And then ask yourself, how do I bring this emotion into my present moment? Because that's the root. This is the fruit. How is that corresponding to my life right now? How does that frequency intertwine with the other frequencies I have going on right now? It'll reveal a lot, but you have to do the fucking work. And it's so hard, especially if you are of a more addictive behavior type, or if you're stuck in the throes of addiction in some way, shape, or form. Like my posts last week, addiction takes many forms. People often jump from one addiction to another. And the most mainstream way people can relate to that is like, oh, if you are, a drug addict, you're not supposed to drink alcohol. You're not supposed to partake in gambling. You're not supposed to associate with people that are connected to those kinds of lifestyles, because you'll shift your narcotic addiction to gambling or to sex or to whatever it is. Self-help. That's one that people don't really look at, is you can become so addicted to self-help or to shadow work. And that's why I've told you guys everything in balance. Don't constantly dive deep into your shadows to find another shadow to work on, to integrate, to heal. They come in waves. They come when they're meant to. They crop up when it's their time to shine, if you can call it that. But don't go seeking them out, because you will find a shadow every single time you look for one. That's just how manifestation works. If you're focused, it's going to manifest, right? You can become addicted to shadow work because of the feelings it gives you, even though those feelings are not pleasant for most people to experience. Some people are junkies for anger, for sadness, for misery, right? You've met a miserable person who tried to rope everyone around them, everyone they encountered, into their misery, right? By acting the way that they do. So those people love wallowing in misery, and they want everyone else to be just as miserable as them, because it feeds that addiction, not because they like it, because it's pleasant and it feels really good and it makes them grateful or anything. It's because they're addicted to that shadow, to that element, right? So, you know, they clear the skies with me screaming out loud, lots of weather manipulation here in the UK, hailing and high winds. Within 15 minutes, the sun came out and cleared the whole sky by my house. That's awesome, Matt. When you go back to that place in time, I don't always talk to that inner child. I bring in someone who I know I needed back then. Then the child gets up and gets integrated. Yeah. And yeah, misery loves company, Suzanne, for sure. Yeah, you know, as adults, we often compensate, not all of us, okay? Some people turn into people who do the same thing to others as was done to them, right? We know that's a manifestation of trauma as well. But there are others of us who try to embody that and be that, so another person doesn't have to suffer the way we suffered in whatever way we suffered, right? Or something similar. We want to be the fixer. We want to be that go-to person, the one that's always gonna, you know, answer the phone day or night, doesn't matter what time, blah, 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 because that's what we needed. So we try to be that for others. So be that for you, for that earlier version of you, that past version of you that was traumatized in whatever way it was. But yes, I agree, Patrine, having someone who you needed back then come into that scenario, right, is also helpful. But relate that to you, because all of this is you, this whole mental picture, and you inserting this person and having them act the way that you needed them or wanted them to act in that moment. That's still you. So in one way, yes, very positive, very, very great outcomes for that kind of thing as well. But then ask yourself why you have to put a mask on, why you have to dress you up in a different suit of skin to be more relatable to that version of you. Or maybe because it makes you feel like, you know, you don't have to really connect as deep on that deep of a level. I'm not saying this is what you're doing. I'm just making an example, Patrine. Thank you. Hi, Kara. So that's a whole nother job for you to do, right? Is ask, why do I feel I need to send in someone else instead of me being the one to provide this comfort, to hold that version of me, to speak with, understand, validate, whatever that version of me. That could also, for some, be another way to approach it as well. Again, Patrine, not attacking you, not saying you're doing any of that. Just, you know, I teach from comments too. I have a friend who looks for misery when her life is going okay. She looks for family and friends who need her to be miserable with them. Yeah. Not trying to fix shit anymore. I will help if able, but if the person won't even help themselves, then I step away. I love that, Kara. And that's, thank you, Patrine. That's a healthy and beautiful way to be, right? Because it's not like an idea that you're trying out. It's not you. That's a learned lesson. That's something that took you many years and so much effort and so much, you know, mental and emotional turmoil to come to that realization that, oh, I'm not going to involve myself in another person's situation to try to fix. I can, lend some support from time to time, but I'm not going to get roped in and be their emotional crutch. I'm not going to be, their fixer, because I can't fix you. Only you can fix you. Only you can be present with you. You're not using me as a crutch, because I've learned situation after situation after situation that trying to save someone and be their crutch is only enabling them further. So, you're going to have to get to it and do your own inner work. Nobody outside of you is going to save you. Nobody outside of you is going to say the magic words and be like, your life's okay. I waved my magic wand and, this is just the way it's going to go now. That's not how it works. Took a really long time to learn that lesson. I understand you, girl. Yeah, I sure know. I'm so proud of you too. This is, that's a breakthrough that I was really, really proud to witness. So I love that. And here I am, almost an hour in, and I've only got 3 cards addressed. Okay, so we're moving on to high vibrations, high frequencies, love, compassion, forgiveness, and oneness. And that starts first with yourself. You cannot expect others to accept you and to, support you and love you if you don't do those things for yourself already. If you're trying to prove something to someone outside of you, it's not going to work, because the one you're really trying to prove it to is you. And you knew all along your value and your worth, but your programming is, what forced that into unconscious and subconscious so deeply that it cannot rise above the other shit that you crammed on top of it. Okay. Getting to the bottom of that. Yeah, no one is coming to save you. Only you can save yourself. Absolutely. So next to this gratitude card, and how I reframe that gratitude. Gratitude is programming. Gratitude is programming. Say it again. Say it again. Gratitude is programming. Because if you're not authentically grateful for the wondrous things that are manifesting for you in your life, and you're only saying, I'm grateful for that one little breadcrumb. I'm so grateful that I get to eat today. I'm so glad that I get to keep my house for another month. I am so glad that that person looked my way and smiled at me, even though it looked like they were looking past me. And when I looked, the other person behind me was smiling too. I'm just going to take it. That breadcrumb is mine. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Don't be grateful for receiving less than you deserve or nothing. You can't be grateful for not receiving your needs being met. But far beneath that, what are you doing? You're just further manifesting situations that are going to breadcrumb the fuck out of you. And be like, oh, that's what they're focused on. That's what they want. Here's more of that. Here's more situations where you're going to get breadcrumbed as fuck. And then you're going to pretend to be grateful for it. And you're still focusing on that. So you get more situations like that, and so on and so on. The cycle never breaks. You're the fucking cycle breaker. Snap out of it and get pissed off. Because at least that is a better frequency, a higher frequency, not better. Better is just my own judgment. That's a higher frequency than the grief, than that stuck complacency. Reach for better, because you fucking deserve better. I don't care if your life is proven to you time and time and time again that you don't deserve shit, because that ain't the fucking truth. That's your default manifestations proving to you what you believe in your subconscious, but that's not the truth of who you are. Be better, do better, expect better, because you deserve better. Yes, dream big and know those dreams are yours. And you would not be given the concept of that dream unless you were absolutely 100% worthy and already had it in some form, in some realm, in some timeline. So align to that timeline where that version of you has that relationship or that family support, whether that's your biological family or your created family. Reach for better places to work, because the one that you're working at has proven time and time again that they're never, ever, ever going to express gratitude or reward you with the recognition or the raise or the promotion that you really deserve. Vibrate in what you want. Yeah. And that's easier said than done, especially for neurodivergent people. I get it. And that's the regurgitated manifestation method, but it is true, right? It's just that people don't really know how to get there. They're like, let's just fake gratitude, or let's make myself believe that I am grateful for the breadcrumbs. That's programming. It's time to completely reprogram yourself. And that's why the reprogram card was the first card out on the bottom of the deck. You're not meant to be programmed to be closed off to receiving. And that's exactly what gratitude for breadcrumbs gets you. It doesn't open you up to receiving more. It closes you off to receiving more by opening you up to receiving more of the same, more situations that are going to manifest breadcrumbs for you. Gratitude is programming if you don't use it correctly. So, used correctly, Four of Wands, you're laying your foundation. You are consciously aware of what you do and do not deserve, and you're not fucking spiritually bypassing anymore. You're going to that version of you who first became okay with receiving less than you deserved. The one that first was programmed with, this is all you get and you get nothing more. This is your life. Continue to manifest, scenario after scenario that mimics this one traumatic moment. Keep doing it. That's your programming. And reaching for self-help after self-help and not walking the walk. I know you guys saw my post yesterday. You're talking the talk, but are you walking the walk? It was Christopher Walken's face in a walk. Yeah, super awesome. Thank you, Slam Virtue. Over on YouTube, guys. So you're new, seems, or else that's just another profile. I don't know. But seems like you're new. I am streaming to multiple platforms, so I'll be talking to people that you're not seeing in the comments on your side of things too. So just to let you know, there are others that are joining us. They're just not all on YouTube. Thank you, Susan. So you have to let go of the remorse, of the regrets about whatever choices or addictions that you may have formed in your life as coping mechanisms. Okay. You have to get to the bottom of your programming. It's not, the addiction is not the sickness. It's not what got you to that point. The addiction was you attempting to medicate, to heal, to make it feel better, even if just for a moment, in whatever form that is, whether that's drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex, fucking self-help, shadow work, whatever it is, because humans can become addicted to almost everything. Okay, I'm going to say almost everything, but I'm pretty sure it's literally everything, but we'll just go on the safe side of things. Oh, awesome. Thank you for joining us, Slam Virtue. Appreciate you. So you have to get to the root of it and you have to validate it. You have to sit with it. You have to go back there, because I'm not going to be able to go back there for you and correct your past. I'm not going to be able to go back there for you and relive it and create a different story to where, it bypasses your trauma signals and your subconscious, files. It's not me. It's not that guru. It's not that author that wrote that book. It's not any fucking buddy else but you. You go there. You be the one, because you had no one else. The only person that you had to lean on was yourself. So that version of you is only going to recognize you as being the one who is there, because you're the only one there with them then. Now this wiser, more lived version of yourself, the one who has intentionally focused on healing, whether you've been able to accomplish a lot or not, doesn't matter. You're the only one that can do the work. You're the only one that exists in your universe. So do the fucking work. If you want change, You have to be the one who creates change because it's your universe, not mine. I'm living in my own. I'm dealing with my own shit. I've healed through a lot of shit, but I still have my moments. I still have things that come up. We're never going to be completely finished evolving, especially not in this earth plane and not in this realm, guys, not now at least. So you're continuously evolving. That spiral, that healing spiral that we've always talked about, you're going to continue to come back around and meet it in a different way, in a different manifestation, similar energies, different, different notes. Since we use the symphony thing as an example, different notes, okay, different octaves, same shit, different day, as they say. So sit with it, validate it, get to the bottom, reason with that version of you, because the version of you then didn't have the knowledge and wisdom that the version of you now has. You can say, hey, you know what? This is really awful. This is really traumatic. This is something that no human being should ever encounter. But you know what? You're in it. You're not a victim. You're a survivor. And then look at me. This is us now. This is you in the future. This is all that I've accomplished. This is all I've done for us. I've had your back the whole time. And you know what? That version of you has had your back this whole time. They're the ones who got you to this point in your life. So really validating one another and being grateful for one another's experience is so healing. And it'll reveal a lot to you about your situation, about the root, about everything, if you just give it your time. That version of you that felt unseen, unheard, that wasn't worth anyone's time or effort, do you think that version of you is ever going to heal if you can't even bother to give that version your time and effort? If you can't bother to sit with it and nurture it and love it and say, you know what? This is completely shitty, but you know what? It's all going to fucking be okay. Because this is you now. This is you in the future. You have so much to live for, so much to work for. And see how things shift once you're done. But you have to do the shadow work. You have to do the inner child work. You have to do whatever work it is that is necessary. You can't just bypass it. Love and light, gratitude for the breadcrumbs, for the shitty life circumstances that you try to claw yourself out of every single day. But somehow you wake up the next day for it to restart again. That's the program. It's running like it was intended to. What it was created for. So you got to be the one to reprogram. Create your own foundations with the Four of Wands. Tap into that limitless potential, that passion, that power within you. And if you don't feel powerful, go back to the version of you who first accepted that you were powerless. Create your 10 of Pentacles. Because only you can. And I don't care if that's money, the traditional way that people view wealth. Okay, wealth can mean so many different things. It can be, family. It can be created family. It can be connections. It can be that job. It can be, this is what I feel my purpose is. It can be anything, depending on who you are. Only you can decide. Only you can shift it. No amount of self-help videos or books or gurus is going to fix it. We're leaving the age of gurus, just in case you didn't get the memo, by the way. You are your own guru. You're going to start seeing the masks falling off of all these spiritual gurus like Deepak. That motherfucker's on the flight list. You know what I mean? It's all a facade. You are your only true guide. Duncan is crying at me right now to let him in. It's been an hour and he wants in for his snacks. Hold on, guys. Come on, sir. Don't bother me again, son. Even though he will in 2 minutes when he's done taking 2 bites. So have patience, okay? Sit with these parts of yourself. If something is not going the way you want it to in your life, get to the bottom of it. Get to the root of it. When's the first time you felt that powerless? When's the first time that you felt like you didn't matter? When's the first time that you felt unseen and unheard, and that that was a good thing and that it was safe? When? It's a process. It's not going to be an overnight change. I have been working on healing myself for years and years and years. It's not an overnight thing. And I'm not here to lie to you and sugarcoat shit and say, hey, just go and do this tonight in meditation and accept yourself and that version of you. You might have to go back there many, 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 many times. It's not going to be instantaneous unless you're just really good at navigating your shadow work and your inner child healing and all of that. Then it's not impossible to be an immediate shift, an instantaneous healing. It's not impossible. But for most of us stubborn ass human beings, it's going to take a while. Okay. We have our own hangups, guys. So have patience with yourself. I'll be 60 and still healing myself. Exactly, Suzanne. Exactly. So don't expect an immediate fix. It's not a drug. It's and drugs, as a lot of people know, alcohol, these addictions that we can use as crutches or become dependent on, those don't fix anything. Shopping addiction, things like that, they don't fix. They make you feel euphoric for a moment or for a few moments or hours, but they're not going to make you completely transform and not ever feel that way again because now it's healed. That's not what happens. That's not the reality of things. So you're going to have to work your ass off. If you want it, you have to get it. You have to build it. You have to create it. You have to heal it. Okay. So we have a lot of duality, a lot of crossroads energy showing up. We have the Two of Pentacles. This is weighing decisions. This is, weighing ideas versus something that makes sense to us, that's tangible. What always makes sense to you in your mind is not always going to be the best thing. It's always operating from comfort zone. So what you think, because, oh, I know how to do this, so this is going to be the easiest way, this is going to fix it this time, or this is going to get me to my end goal, whatever. But then there's this idea and you're like, no, I don't know if that's going to work because maybe it's never been done before by anyone, or maybe you've just never attempted it before and you don't know anything about it, but you have this idea you can't get off of your mind. And you're like, no, I'm just going to go about the tangible way of doing things that I already know how to do because I've done that approach many times. I know that it may not work the way I want it to, but at least it's going to get me, from here to there. And you're completely ignoring that divine energy that's flowing through you, that you're closing yourself off to receiving because it doesn't make sense to your comfort zone. Expand, grow. That's why you're here. Flip the narrative. Keep your thoughts in alignment of your goals. Being the victim or in that victim mentality always creates a new situation that's going to victimize you. The people may change, the way it looks may change a little bit, but it's going to be the same thing playing out, right? So choose to align to a higher version. And the only way you can align to a higher version is when you don't have those things anchoring you down, those unconscious and subconscious energies that are still playing out in your waking life that you may not know anything about. Maybe you forgot it. Maybe, your brain did that as a way for you to continue living, to continue, day to day, because that thing was so traumatic that you would never be able to function again had you not. And that's a real thing that happens to human beings all the time. But those traumas, those experiences shaped you, How you allow them to shape you is on you. You can be like others, and once you're victimized, you can stay in victim mode and then manifest more and more situations and more scenarios that are going to cause you to be the victim, which is where a lot of people, I know several people like that, that's where they prefer to be. Comfort zone. They know it well, right? Not where they would desire to be, but they're willing to accept it because that's what they know, and that's how life has programmed them, and that's how they expect life to go, and they don't expect anything better for themselves. Or you can be a survivor of that situation and go on to thrive, to create better things for yourself, to decide that you're never going to be victimized by a situation again. See, I called it. Duncan wants out. Hold on, Dad. There you go, son. All right, trade kitty for kitty. Come on, Lyra. All right. They swapped spots. Now Lyra's in. So it's up to you to decide, are you going to continue to be the victim, or are you going to be a survivor and create better and try to ensure that maybe others, and this is, some people go into advocacy, some don't, doesn't matter, and pass that down, pay it forward to others so they don't have to experience the same thing. Only you can create the life that you deserve. This is what you deserve. This is the Nine of Cups. Treasure at her feet, full cups above her. She's embracing it. She's in this golden aura, this golden light, source light shining down upon her, and she's receiving with open arms everything she knows she fucking deserves. This is the state that you're meant to exist in. Not victimhood. Two of Swords energy, another crossroads, but this is in the reverse. You're choosing to fucking see it, to change it. When you become aware of something, you can do something about it. We talked about that last time. There are so many things surfacing right now in the collective and in our individual experience that are horrific, tragic, painful, difficult. They are surfacing so that we can become consciously aware. This is how it's been operating the whole time. Just these things have been kind of tucked away behind the scenes or hidden. But now it's all coming to light. Now that we are consciously aware of it, now that we know that there's an issue and where those issues are, now we can do something about it. Now we can correct the wrongs. Now we can build something better, because now we're building from a place of conscious awareness, higher consciousness, because let's face it, if most of us see the wrongs that are happening in our own life and in the collective, we're not going to sit back and just allow it to continue to happen. So now that these problems that have been surfacing in your life, they've brought your awareness to that there's an issue. Now you can dissect them. Now you can observe. Now you can take stock of what they are, why they're here. Why do I operate in this pattern? Why do I act that way to certain people whenever I want to get closer to them? Why do I push them away, or whatever it is, right? And then you can correct it. Now you can push that energy in the direction that you want that energy to flow in, because now you've become conscious creator, conscious corrector, and then creator, right? So you're no longer choosing to be blinded. Now you've opened up that delta doorway, the quantum realm, where everything is possible. Forgiveness, limitless freedom. Forgive yourself. Forgive the version of you that didn't realize that you were playing subconscious programming and bypassing and manifesting the shitty circumstances that you came to hate in your own existence, right? Forgive that version of you, because you didn't fucking know. How could you blame something on someone who didn't intend it, didn't know it, wasn't conscious of it? stop looking for someone to blame. Take accountability, yes, but stop judging yourself. Blame and accountability are two very different frequencies. Blame is the ego. Let's not even get started on that. Because if something tragic happens in our current world circumstances, police get involved, right? They always are looking for who's to blame, who caused it, even if there was no intention of doing so. Like there was last year, there was apparently this snowplow driver here in Colorado that somehow lost control of his plow late at night, probably an icy road, black ice, couldn't see it, didn't know, and ended up going across the median and hitting a van full of youth hockey players. And there was one fatality, but there were many different, really tragic injuries also that happened. And they're trying to indict this snowplow driver because he was out on the freeway plowing it like he was supposed to, and he lost control, not through negligence, not through, anything like that, but it impacted, of course, it took a life, and it deeply impacted others, but it was not something that was intentional. So giving you that scenario, you cannot blame the version of you that spun out and lost control because you came upon some slippery shit that you didn't foresee and you spun out and maybe you caused some damage. You can take accountability for that, but there is no blame. You see, blame and accountability, vastly different. So stop burdening yourself. Okay. Stop burdening yourself. Let it fucking go. Because you're not seeing the light. You're not seeing the opportunities that are being offered. You're not seeing how full your cup can be when you're focused on the blame or on the fact that it happened to begin with, on the victimization of it. Not going to get you up out of it, baby. Let the burden go. Unburden yourself. 10. It means it's done, complete. 10 is a number of completion, but also of new beginnings, because 1 plus 0 is 1. New beginnings. 0 is that God force energy. 0 is the source of all creation energy, the void, the quantum. Okay. Bring new beginnings. Bring that new energy through that portal of 0, the quantum, the void, and anchor it here to create your new beginnings. And it all starts with self-love. I couldn't have mapped this out better myself. These cards are just singing. These are bottom of the deck cards, by the way. I did not know this was behind that one. Self-love. Embrace yourself, all versions of yourself. Yes, take accountability, especially if you made a decision that you were consciously aware was going to impact you or others negatively. Take accountability, of course. I'm not saying that, oh, I chose a spiritual life. Now everyone that I've wronged, the hundreds of thousands of them, it just goes away and I'm new. I'm reborn, born again. Ring a bell? It's religious programming, rippling out, changing shape, but never form. I thought we were past this. Okay. Stagnant waters, bottom of the deck. Feeling stuck. A call for shifts, flow, and change. What was the first fucking card? Oh, that was mental reprogramming. Second card. Second card. Feeling alone, stuck, abandoned. In water. Shockingly enough, 2 different decks, both water. Water's coming through today. She's got a purpose. So stay in stagnant waters. Stagnant waters is where bacteria and, insects like blood-sucking mosquitoes breed. That's where stagnant water actually serves a positive purpose, which can be construed by many as positive or negative. For me, it's negative. But if you like the stagnancy, if you like the stagnant waters, then bathe in it, live in it, love in it, whatever you want. But don't fucking bitch and complain about it, because you're the only one that can get you up out of there, that can actually cause flow to your own energy. Because those stagnant waters, that water is you. What do you think you're made up of? From stagnant waters, though, to clear waters. Clear vision, confirmation, right timing and opportunity. If you continue to seek out opportunity, or seek out something different, something better, something that can escape, can be an escape for you from whatever energy that keeps replaying in your life, in your mind, in your heart, wherever, that's stagnation. That's pulling up, right? It's still moving, but it's moving in a circle. Once you observe that, once you validate it, once you get to the root of why it's there, what caused it to begin with, what version of you that was, go back, because you're a time traveler. Everyone can do it in your mind, okay? Doesn't mean go back to the situation and relive everything. It means go back to there, find out how you were feeling, what happened, not every detail of what happened, but get a good understanding of the circumstances, and then help yourself through it, nurture yourself, validate yourself, listen to how that self feels, not this self, because this self probably forgot a lot. That one, go sit with that one. That's going to clear things up. When we converse, when we have a connection with someone, regardless of the kind of connection it is, doesn't matter. If there's something that's causing restriction within that connection, and we converse about it with the intent to understand, communicate, and, reciprocate with one another to find a solution, that's when we get things flowing again. Your relationship with yourself is the same way as it is with anyone outside of you. So don't treat it any different. Healing energy. This is where your healing begins, or maybe where it picks back up. I don't know your fucking journey. Only you do, okay? But you're the only one that can do it. You're the healer. You're the cycle breaker. You're the trailblazer. It might sound a lot easier to outsource, to get someone else to do the work for you, but it's impossible, because I can't enter your universe. I cannot serve a function that creates any kind of change in your universe. The only thing that can help change is my words, my demonstrating by actions in my own universe. I can serve as an example, but I can't go walk up into your psyche and change shit for you and be like, done, you're fixed. It doesn't work that way. You're the only one, because your brain, your universe only recognizes you. Why do you think people think in their own voice? Okay. If you can hear your voice when you think, which I get, not everyone can, but for those who can, often your voice, right? And call, baby, you were born to be a healer, seer, priest, priestess, etc. This is your sole purpose. You are meant to break the cycle. You are meant to be the one to reprogram. You are the one. You've had it all along. End call. When a baby is born, end call. This is what this means. When a baby is born, end call, it means that the baby is born with the bag of waters intact. Generally, a woman's water breaks and that comes off. The baby comes out covered in blood and guts and all of the delicious things. But babies who are born end call, which means they're born in this sack of waters, it doesn't pop, it doesn't rupture. They're delivered and it's, still around them. They're still just kind of, breathing in the water in there. Not literally, don't take me literally. Babies born that way are said to be seers because they were born looking through the veil. With all of that intact, they can see through the veil. Being born en call means you were born gifted. You were born as a seer. You were born as a healer, as a priest, priestess, etc. Whatever label you want to throw on it. This is your purpose. This is part of your purpose, not your only one, part of your purpose. And when this is part of your purpose, it means your path is not going to be easy. It means you're going to fall, you're going to scrape your knees, you're going to get banged up along the way, but you're going to fucking find your way because you're a trailblazer. And you're the one with that machete chopping down foliage and the jungle all around you so that other people have a path through it, because you're the one that forged it. You're the one that saw it. You're the one that created it. That is you paying it forward. So keep fucking going. Heal that past, present, and future. You have to go back to the past in the present to create a new future timeline. You're healing the past, present, and future, whether you know it or not. Whether you recognize yourself for it or not, is what I just heard. Some of you were programmed to be so humble that you don't talk about your achievements, that you don't honor yourself for overcoming deeply traumatic and intense cycles. Take the credit. Even if nobody's giving it, take the fucking credit. Because that creates new expectation. If you expect no one to give you credit and you don't reach for the credit and say, hey, look what the fuck I did, how are you ever going to receive it? You got to create, it starts with you. As above, so below, as within, so without. Go within. Give yourself the fucking credit. You've done the work. You've come a long fucking way. And if nobody else is cheering you on, only you are cheering you on. So do it. If you have only you to cheer you on, be the biggest, raddest, fucking brightest cheerleader possible. Start cheering for yourself and see how much your circumstances change. Start seeing other people clapping for you. But if you're not going to clap for yourself, nobody else is going to bother. So if you don't get that, if you don't receive that, you have to make it for yourself. You have to create it for yourself. You have to get yourself used to receiving it in some way before your external circumstances will reflect that back to you. Okay? It's nothing about not being humble. You can be humble and still receive all of the respect, all of the accolades, all of the appreciation, all of being seen for your accomplishments. That doesn't make you not humble. So stop trying to play into the humble program too. Gratitude is a program. Humbleness is a program, okay? Heal it in the past with your present to change your future. Cosmic ocean, current dreams, future realities, and new beginnings, baby. If you've done the work, you're stepping through the portal. Or you recently have. I don't know your timeline. This is a collective reading. I'm reading for everyone. So whatever your timeline is, maybe you're approaching it. Maybe you needed that last bit of encouragement or to be reminded to cheer for you, to keep fucking going, to be the shining star that you are, even if you're only shining for you, baby. Because you're the universe. Universe. So shine and fucking clap for yourself. New beginnings. Dream bigger. Okay? Reach for bigger. Give yourself more. So yourself starts to expect more. So that program goes up to the next tier, right? That subscription, it goes up to the next tier. Now it's without ads, baby. Now we're really getting somewhere, right? Now we don't have to waste our time with all of that side shit. We're streamlining, we're growing, we're expanding, we're receiving externally what we've been feeding internally. That is creating a way for the truth, the true you, the authentic you to shine. This is your freedom. Remember, in the US, the eagle is a symbol of freedom, which we don't really have and never have, but you know how that goes. Truth, authenticity, freedom. Only you can create that for yourself. Six of Swords, moving away from turbulent waters to calmer shores. From one situation that didn't fit. Yes, Duncan is crying again. He's relentless. He just wants me to be his little slave. He does it every day. He came in, he took 2 bites, he left. Now he wants back in just because the door is closed. Any other time, he doesn't bother. So you're moving away from the turbulence of the past, from the lack, from not receiving enough. Because let's face it, back in the good old days, whenever people used to travel by way of sea, right? They could go weeks or even months without resources, food, water, fresh water, that the shit that they had to endure, because maybe they got lost at sea, or maybe, there was a lot of storms, and who fucking knows. I'm not getting into the details of the story. But when you move away from that turbulence and that not knowing, when you were going to get necessities, and not knowing when you were going to reach land, but now land is in sight. Now there's beautiful trees everywhere. It's a fruitful place. You're going to get exactly what you need. You're going to get that fresh water. You're going to get that fresh food. You're not going to be eating rations of whatever could be dried and preserved, right? You're actually going to get some delicious shit. Baby, you're moving from rationing, from lack, from turbulence to receiving bounty. The shoreline's right there. Can't you see it? It's here. Maybe it'll take a little more time for you to dock and deboard and get accustomed to having your needs met and fulfilled. But it's right there. Yes, be grateful for it. Yes, rejoice about it. Yes, get in that gratitude, authentic gratitude, because you see your needs are about to be met. You see it. You can taste it. It's so close. Be grateful for the breadcrumbs on the ship, because they got you they got you through. But that's not a sustainable way of existence. You know it and I know it. So reach for the fucking stars, because you're the sun, the moon, and all the stars in your universe. Okay? Yeah, duality might kick your ass sometimes, but just as we move through those shadows, that darkness, just as we navigate that, we navigate the light. And we're meant to be grateful for both, authentically grateful for both. Because even though traumas or trials and tribulations or whatever perceived negativity that you have navigated through in your life, whether there's a little bit of it or a lot of it, maybe a shitstorm after shitstorm after shitstorm your entire life. Same. But can't you see the shore? Those experiences shaped you. They brought you the knowledge and the wisdom. You're not going to repeat those things, because now you see what brought them forth in the first place. Now you see, maybe it was out of your control to begin with, but now it's within it. Now you can go back and you can, heal that version of you. You can reprogram. You can completely imagine a whole different scenario and outcome once you meet it where it's at. And then you can rewrite your history. And this is where time travel and timeline shifts really come into play. That's that Delta doorway. But you would have never fucking got there if you didn't know the shadows very, very well. If you didn't know the shadows better than you know the light. Because when the lights go out, you know how to navigate, baby. You've done it time and time and time and time again. So be grateful for the shadows. They brought you the experience, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the tools to be able to make better use of your light, honey. And that's never a waste. No matter how much you judge it, it was never a waste of time. Because every version of you that crawled through the trenches of that life brought you to who the fuck you are today. And now you have the knowledge. Now you have the conscious awareness. Now you can do something about it. And now you can reach for that 10 of Pentacles. He has you trained. Yeah, he definitely has me trained, Suzanne. Definitely has me trained. I know exactly when he wants to go outside and whenever he wants to come in and get food. And if he's low on food, I know which one he's low on and what he's meowing for. I know it. He's got me trained well. All of my animals do. And yes, I include my kids in that. So that's what I got for you guys today. Still ended up going an hour and a half, even though we didn't have a whole lot of cards that actually came out for us today. That's what we got. That's something that needed to be said, you know? And again, I'm going to remind you guys, I have my own shadows. I do shadow work whenever it comes up. And I've been doing inner child healing for the last couple of weeks. Like I said, it's really been surfacing in my conscious awareness, but also I wouldn't say manifesting like, you know, huge situations, but I can see the ripples, you know, and something that frustrates me or something that I'm like, okay, I've worked with that energy, I've, you know, pushed it in to flow in this direction, but it's not. So what's the hang up? So it can be something as simple as getting irritated by someone, you know, disregarding your feelings about walking in the gas station and they shut the door in your face, they didn't even hold it open for you, whatever it is. Humans can be triggered by all types of things, you guys. If it's gonna surface, it's gonna surface. And you can have, you know, a pretty easygoing life for the most part, but then there's something, that one little tiny thing, seemingly little inconspicuous little thing, and it makes a big dent. It impacts your entire day. It throws you into a spiral, maybe for days, weeks, or months, you know. Whatever needs to surface is going to surface. It's all about how you navigate, all about how you apply what you learned and apply your value, because you're worth so much more than what you've been receiving. I don't care what area of life it is that you're receiving less than, but you deserve a whole hell of a lot more. You're the only one that can change it. You're the only one that can heal it. You're the only one that can do the work. So I love you guys. Thank you. I'm glad it resonated. Thank you. All right. So until next week, I'll let you guys go. But yeah, just I've been dealing with some stuff on my own too, things that kind of were dredged back up during retrograde, right? So now with all these planets direct and nothing in retrograde until coming up like next week, I think, or the week after, we have this moment to breathe, to really assess what came up for us, what's been a theme, what we want to keep, what we want to grow, and what we want to completely, you know, be able to bury and fertilize our new growth, right? So, said what I needed to hear. That safe person surprise triggered, and my warrior Aries Mars energy was on ready. Yes, Linda, I love that. Thank you. But yeah, you guys can do it. I gotta open the door so this cat will stop yelling at me. That's his version of yelling. Meow, meow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you take what resonated, leave whatever doesn't resonate behind, only apply what aligned with your own being. Okay. Everything else, that's a collective reading. So there's bits and pieces that you may or may not resonate with. So take what resonates, leave the rest behind, let someone else take it that really needs it, that resonates with it. All right. You don't have to take it all. We love you too, Susan. All right, guys, I'll be back with you guys next week. Same time, same places. I love you so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Mwah. Take care.